Alright fam, here we are. We're going to go over my atlas, but before I do, I just wanted to highlight I have a turkey mech out there. Here's what he looks like painted. I also have a blackjack alternative. This is the alternative to the blackjack. This one, I didn't have my printer set up right on any of these. For some reason, I had reset it and it defaulted to the the 0.4 nozzle, and I have a 0.2 in there. But he failed on the jump jets. But I redid the jump jets so they wouldn't fail. So he's got jump jets there and there. Neat little guy. And then he is a dasher, and I have a mech of this guy, an alternative. He's an alternative for this mech, and I call him Runner. All of these are available on Cults 3D. And then this will be my Santa Claus Atlas. And as you can see, the Atlas is considerably bigger, but not so much in height as much as in bulk. But my son thought it'd be a nice idea to do a Santa Claus mech, and the only thing I could think that I would be able to do a good job at would be the size of an Atlas. I couldn't imagine trying to make a Santa Claus mech on one of those smaller sizes. So when I do my Cults 3D prints, I also include a alphastrike card, printable PDF. I don't do that on the turkey. You basically just got to decide what you want that turkey to be. But Santa Claus is an atlas. I mean, granted, if you wanted to, you could go into your slicer and shrink his size so that you could be a smaller mech, like maybe a Crusader or something like that. I always loved the Crusaders when I was young. And I'm just now thinking, I hope my microphone is plugged in. We will find out. There we go. I just switched to PLA Tough Plus from Bamboo Labs. And man, that stuff sticks to the table something fierce. But also these supports are also a little harder to get off than regular PLA. I had to do that for a different project I'm working on. Oh no, did I just... Yeah, I'm going to have to re-glue that. I just got a little too crazy and broke an arm off, but I have a solution for that. It's this weld-on. Works really well on reattaching that stuff. I just got a little carried away working too fast and did that. But that's the way the game goes, you know. So sometimes that's going to happen with your prints. I think if he was regular PLA, I don't think I would have had that problem. I think I would have pulled that support off real quick and easy. I'd really like to upgrade to that 4-roll one, because then I could use PETG for interface, and the PLA and the PETG will not stick together at all. So it makes just pulling supports off a dream. But with my Bamboo A1, I'm not going to do that, because I'd have to go every time the machine pauses for those changes. I'd have to go over there and manually change out my material. And I ain't going to do that. So, not going to do that at all. Give you an idea how fast that stuff works. Do I have any in there? No, I don't. So, get all that stuff out of the way. Then I shoot some air in there, and then I let it inflate to get my thing. And plus, I bent my needle the other day too. Anyways, I got some drops in there. That'll be enough. And so then all I have to do is find where I put his arm. There's his arm. And then I take this and I just put a few drops on there. Don't quite have enough. But what this does is it basically melts the material. Much like the plastic model glue. The difference is this stuff dries a lot faster. There's where it's supposed to be. So once that tacks up a minute, it just takes a second, just like that. See that? Then I'll get me some more on here, and I'll re-weld that plastic again. And I think I probably got to order me a new injector, because I believe I have inadvertently bent this needle. See, it goes on about like water. And it will melt that stuff in and really not leave any kind of problems. But that's it. That's glued together. Easy fix for prints that break off for one reason or another. So let's see. I got that. Where'd my little cap go? This will end up evaporating out of here before I do any more, so I don't load it up with a lot of material. Because if I do, it won't stay. So I'm going to go ahead and finish cleaning this up. And then we'll get into some primer. Try to get this Santa Claus painted up for you, so you have an idea of it. How's that? Okay, I'll see y'all in a little bit. This is a airbrush primer, so you don't have to worry about it filling in all the details. This is the Army Paints War Paint airbrush primer. I also have an airbrush, but it just doesn't always seem like the right thing to do. Sometimes you can grab an airbrush and it's great, but like today, I'm not worried about it. Doesn't take me very long to set it up, but it's like, why, you know? Unless you just enjoy airbrushing. My son loves airbrushing. I like it, but it's, you know, it's not going to make or break a model. Just like my little cardboard palette here. It does the job. You ain't got to spend a bunch of money. When I paint paintings, I use paper plates. Even this brush is not a... This is not a fancy brush. It doesn't matter, you know. For what I'm doing, unless somebody wanted to send me some fancy brushes, I'm probably not using fancy brushes. I was in construction for almost 30 years and did a lot of paint work. And it didn't matter the amount of money I spent on a brush. It had everything to do with the skill. Not that I'm a great miniature painter, but my point being is, if you have the skills and you develop them, it won't matter what kind of brush you have. Like I got a fancy makeup brush I use for um, dusting and highlighting stuff. But I can do the same thing with this brush. It's just a little better to use the other one. A little easier. But the technique is there. Alright, there he is. Now I gotta do this Dasher at the same time because I've never done him. And I need to be able to upload a decent picture of him. Huge size difference, but he's a 30 point on an alphastrike, and that Atlas is 50 something points on an alphastrike. So there is a giant difference between the size of these mechs. And this doesn't have to be perfect because it's going to get completely covered up by paint. And since it is Friday night, gotta dress up, right? Gotta look good, right? I'm just playing. I don't paint my fingernails. All right, we're back. Gonna do some dry brushing on this boy. This is that fancy makeup brush I was talking about, but you don't need to have it, man. Like I said, I'm not the best one in the world. I paint paintings, but miniatures is kind of a whole nother world, man. But I do know I need some highlights right in there. And those shoulders too. I want that to be a little bit brighter. And he'll change a lot as I paint him. See, I have a red wash paint. And so I'm putting this a little heavy because I want that red to kind of highlight as best as it can. I don't want to have to put multiple coats of the red and end up real dark on the red. But we'll see. I can always paint him again if I want. I can always print another one if I want. You can see a little bit of detail on that guy. And you could, I have some layer lines. You could probably work and get that all out of there if you wanted. That's all on you. In your printer, if you're using a resin, it's probably going to be a lot better than me, and I'm not worried about trying to nail it down to be perfect because I'm going for quick. I mean, I don't know about y'all, but I don't want to spend all day just trying to get one mech printed or one 40K unit printed. That's not me, man. That's not my style. There you go. And you can see the unbelievable size differences there. And then there's Santa Claus next to a regular Atlas because he's supposed to be chubby and fun. He's not supposed to be some slim and trim monster machine, right? I'm going a little heavier on mine than most because I'm not going to spend a lot of time painting him. I'm basically just going to do a wash. We'll let that all get dried up and see you after then. All right, back again. Try to get this. I'm out of white. I'm not out of white. I thought I was out of white. All right, we're back, and I think I've got a plan on what I'm going to do on him to finish up. If I find my brushes that I just put up for some bizarre reason. I don't know why I did that, but I did that. And I did, and I did, and I think I like it. Okay. He's not really got a face. He does have a face, but what I'm going to do here is put some wraith bone in there because I'm going to do a wash on it after. And I don't think the white will look right. This wraith bone should give him kind of a leather look once I finish washing it. It'll be a leather color anyways. See if I can get that little hair out of there. Did I get it? I got it. A little bit of a tight fit there. Alright, got that done. That is the only place, unfortunately, I'm doing the wraith bone. Which is going to look kind of, might throw some people off, but it is what it is. So now I'm going to come in with some ash gray. Not sure where all that's going to go. I know it needs to go in at least I planned on around this belt area. Again, it's going to get a wash on it, so it won't matter. It's just gray. I just want that to stand out and not disappear. And there are some little vents right there that you'll see when you print him out. Okay, I got that, and I think I'm going to do the trim on this, where this weapon attaches. I don't know why. I just feel like the artist in me says if I put something somewhere, it needs to be more than just one place. So you know what? Let's get that in there too. Okay, any other place? Oh yeah, I want this missile section, this rocket section to have it as well. And it'll make a little more sense later. The other thing is, man, you can always repaint these things if you don't like the way something came out, right? Alright, so there we go there. That gray will make more sense a little later. Now I need to do this gold belt buckle. If I think my bronze, weapon bronze done separated. So it's trying to come out as just a liquid instead. There's my pretty metal. I didn't think about it, but before I do that, I need to get these boots black because I'm gonna put some gold on that boot too. So I'm just using my airbrush paint again, which has done the same thing. Every paint I have over here has done the exact same thing and separated on me. I don't know why. And I'm not worried about painting that little button right there because that button is going to end up gold, I think. I think. We'll see. I may end up having to do it again. Got a little stray hair on that old brush. Me and my son have gotten a lot of life out of that brush. And it is at the end of its days. Okay, there's that. And I'm not done because I have to do this belt. Could probably get away without worrying about it. Except he's Santa Claus and he's got a belt right there. Alright, there's the black belt. Now I'm going to dry this brush off. I'm not going to wash it. I'm going to go straight into this gold, and I'm going to get my fingers ready to go too. Have a holly jolly Christmas. Bum 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 bum. Tell you what, I think instead of doing this guy's silver, see how some weapon bronze looks on that. There we go. You know what? I was going to go silver on some of that stuff, but maybe we just do some weapon bronze. This is what I'm using. Army Painter Weapon Bronze. Got that. Tell you what, any steadiness I once had, I no longer have. There was a time where my hands were unbelievable. But, man, when I go to do my ink work or anything like that, Lord have mercy. So, that black ain't dry yet, so I can't do that. But I tell you what, let's, this is not a weapon. But let's highlight that. Holly jolly Christmas. Da 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 da. Dun, 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 dun. Dun, 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 dun. Okay, now I have to go wash that out real quick. All right. This is speed paint hardened leather. And I'm going to put that, it's very watery. I'm going to put that on his face. And it should give him a little bit of a leathery look. I'm also going to put that right here. Okay, now that I did that, I don't like how much there is, so I'm going to take some off with the dry brush, just like that. Yeah, that's what I'm going for. Then I'll come back and I'll clean up. I'll clean up some of this other. I think I might have got some of that weapon bronze on there. I mean, to me, it's not that much different, but oh, I gotta hit this. See how it completely changes the color of that base coat? So sometimes it'll seem like you're going the wrong direction on something with the color when you're basing. But when you come back and you do these other steps, it totally changes the feel of it. And to somebody like me, these don't make that big a difference. But to some of you more color sensitive people, that does the trick, you know. So again, I'm gonna have to go wash some brushes. Okay, now I'm gonna try to fix some stuff if I can find my white. I didn't need that much, but it's what's done is done. So here we go. There we go. I really hope in the comments that y'all would tell me about some of the projects y'all are working on. It really helps. I think one of the next mechs I'm going to do is probably a mecha lizard. Very similar, you could say, to got Mechazilla. For people to have fun with. He probably should have the same stats as an Atlas. Just because of the nature of it. But y'all tell me in the comments what you think the stats should be on an alpha. On an alpha card. Alright. Okay. And I'm not quite done. It seems like that leather is wanting to bleed through. So I'm probably going to have to let that dry and come back to it. I am going to have to come back with some more Blood Angels Red and fix that. Because I had a boo-boo. If you can see that boo-boo right there. I think that's the second time I had a boo-boo there. I believe that's the second time I had to do that. Okay. So I got all that. And I gotta let that white dry. It's a shame. So I have another fine brush right here. Because what I want to do is I want to highlight some of those other sections. And it'd be great if I had a little water in with that. But, and this is a Evil Sun's Scarlet. Because I just want to create some attention in spots. And it really needs some white in there. That is way too saturated. But I'm worried it's going to turn pink on me real quick. But that's what I'm going to do anyways. I don't know if you can see that. I just barely mixed it because, man, I don't want this to be a solid color. I just want this to be like edge highlighting. And I think I can go lighter than that. What do y'all think? It's going to change colors as it dries. But I don't think that was enough. That should be better. So like... And it's so watery, it's you don't have to worry so much about it, what it's doing. But I do think I still need more white. It may be because of how thin it is. It may just be too thin. All we're trying to do is just try to create just a little extra attention on those edges. Oh, where'd I go? I'm over here. Basically, every corner, every edge. Kind of goofed there, didn't I? Oh, but that don't matter. You want to try to, as best you can, barely be touching that surface. And that contrast paint I put on there, that Blood Angels, when you put that over a white, man, it really can look sharp. But that's my opinion. I know my son likes it. His army, his ultramarine army, is that color. His army is white because I already have the blue taken. And but all of their trim is in that red. So his rhinos are largely red. His dreadnought has a ton of red on it. I think it probably looked a little better where it's real dark right there. Yeah, that's starting to shape up. What do y'all think? Again, I'm not the best painter in the world. I kind of messed up there. I do okay. I'm much better painting a painting than painting these little guys. And then I don't know that I really have to do any of that down low. I'll probably put some on the chest. Yeah, that looked good. Just highlights all those edges. Just like that. When I was mixing that, there was only a couple drops of water in there. Not a lot. And then I probably did about a 50-50 on that red to the red and the white. Not quite 50-50, maybe 2/3, something like that. Man, I think that's starting to look sharp. You know what I'm thinking, guys? I'm thinking I need to run some white right down here. I'll do that in a minute. Yeah, that's making him look a lot better. Highlighting all those edges like that. Now see here on his arm, this is going to be tricky. But that's getting hit by light, so let's do that. You can kind of see how that paint I put down already does that. But I think hitting this with this just helps that much more to bring out those edges. You know, for the longest time, I didn't play. I mean, I did when I first got it, but then trying to keep people back around it back in the 80s, man, good luck trying to get people to show up for games. Y'all are in such a wonderfully blessed world right now that there's all these stores around. Because there weren't that many. And to the best of my knowledge, here in America anyways, there weren't that many competitions even in the 80s. I'm not sure that there were any in America. I could be wrong. I've got some friends that were heavy into it. Heavier than me. I couldn't afford any of it. The handful of models I have are because, you know, I finally got a car and was able to drive into Houston. And if I was lucky, I could buy one miniature. And so a lot of mine ended up being one-off type things. Like I'd have some kind of sci-fi soldier that didn't match any kind of army. So yeah, a lot of us would end up collecting this stuff with the idea that we were going to play. But your friends never show up because somebody's got a new girlfriend, blah blah blah, some kind of stuff like that. How's he look on camera? He looking good on camera? I hope he is. Now I'm wondering, what do y'all think here? This is what I'm going to do. Just a little bit of that right there. Just a little bit of highlight. And then I'm going to take a little bit of white, reduce it just a little bit more. Yeah, there we go. And then try to blend that a little bit. I may have to go back over that. I may have to do that over again. All right. Let's get a little bit more white. Because I got some fixing to do again. I think I got some stuff in that brush. Yeah, I gotta go wash. Alright, back again. Let's start before I get into that. Let's do this and see how it looks. Okay. See what we can do here. Man, I just love hitting that hat, don't I? There it goes. All right. Okay, I'm probably going to have to do some more touch up on the white. Just because white's one of the hardest colors to ever get to cover. Black goes over stuff very easy. It's very hard to get white to cover other colors. Alright, that's him. Available on Cults 3D. I'm going to do a little more work to him, but I don't think it's necessary for the video. Y'all let me know what y'all think. This is my Santa Claus Atlas. Y'all take care.